Hey, it's Tommy G here. In this video, I interview Gary Gillies. Gary is a successful entrepreneur and he's got one hell of a story about the ups and downs of business and in particular, failure. Check this interview out. It's going to inspire you and encourage you, especially if you are in business. This is something that I'm going to be doing a lot more of in the near future, so stay tuned. For now, check out this interview. We are here because you've got an important story that you want to share, which is your own story, your own personal journey, but also you're kind of sick and tired of this message that achieving all your dreams in business is easy and that if you fail, that's it, end of story, you need to quit and go back to getting a job. So we're going to talk a little bit about failure today. It's something that you've said that you really want to get out, and you've got a couple of things that you want to share with anyone that's watching this who is thinking about getting into business, is in business, and is kind of looking at failure as the end, right? So we're here in your office, and there's lots of boxing memorabilia around. Tell us a little bit about, what's going on here. What's this all about for you here?
So this is my collection over the years of all fights that I can relate to. Each of them has some sort of memory or something to relate to. There's obviously a bit of Rangers mixed in there as well. So my passion for football and Rangers kicks in along the lines.
I mean, the narrative of the fighting coming back, people who are fighters at this top level, they've had their fair share of knockbacks, their fair share of losses. A fight can go either way. You can be losing, you can come back, you can win. I guess Rangers a little bit similar in that sense. Now, what is it about that you've surrounded yourself not only with these memories, but is there some kind of narrative there that connects with what we're talking about today?
It all relates in. I honestly believe that failure shouldn't be something that's frowned upon or anyone should be scared of. There's a lot of ways to come back, and like you said, a lot of these boxers have come back and won things. And it's the same for me, from getting from the bottom again right back up to where I'm successful and happy in my business. You
mentioned that there were two significant kind of twists in the story where you ultimately had a failure.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and start with telling us what one of those were?
So the first one was financially.
Okay.
And I've had multiple businesses over the years, and when I went bankrupt, it was a kind of, what have I done?
Wait, so you went bankrupt?
Yeah, fully bankrupt. It was quite a scary point. Fucking hell.
It's alright.
I didn't expect that.
Mate, you should let it out because you're fucking proud of yourself. It's, this is why you share it, because people, everyone should know about this. Not only for themselves to be able to think, okay, it's not the end of the world if I fail.
I didn't honestly expect that. Anita's been panicking about this.
Has she?
Yeah. She's like, why would you want people to know this message, to know that sort of stuff?
Well, why? Tell us.
What's that?
Why?
There's so many people who've gone bankrupt through the years, or not just bankrupt, but their businesses have failed. And it's not to feel like it's game over. You can go again, you can keep going, move forward again. But the whole problem when you've failed is how you perceive yourself. You've really got to dig deep and find something. From that point, when I was bankrupt, it scared the shit out of me. But it also scared my parents, my partner, everyone around me. But they also, any belief they did have starts to go.
Sure. So
the whole belief then comes down to yourself. You've got to believe in yourself to come back and go through it. And that's really when I had to sort of dig deep on
it. I bet. Lonely place.
Yeah, definitely. I remember being sat in my room, and at the time when it first happened, I went to the natural negative thing to do. I put a box set on for about a week and just sat and watched TV and sort of thinking to myself, what have I done, how have I done, what are people thinking of me, how can I get out of this? But at all points I believed I was getting. It was never, this is the end, or let's go and get a job. It's what's next, how do I get up, how do I go again?
How did you know? How did you know, or what was it that gave you that switch to turn those negative thoughts off and to be like, nah, this is what I'm doing, this is me, part of my journey, I'm supposed to go through this? What was it for you?
It's a hard thing, it's a really hard thing, and I honestly at points did nearly give up, but I think my mentality always said, I'm meant to do this, I'm meant to go on to the next thing, keep pushing. and I believed in myself, which was the key factor. Or I believed 100% that I was good enough to follow through and do what I said. I learnt massive lessons from that. Going bankrupt's a massive thing, and coming back from it tastes even better. But to be at that bottom point is where you really have to find yourself, and trust yourself.
Yeah. Was there a moment of doubt where you thought that you were perhaps on that equilibrium and it could have tipped into the submissive?
Yeah, I had people around me who said, like, Gary, go back to work, just get a job. Like, you're good enough to go and get a decent paid job, get a salary, and just stick to it. You're not meant to do this entrepreneurial stuff. It's for certain type of people. Like, running a business, it's not easy, maybe it's not for you. And when so many people hit you with them thoughts, you kind of go, are they right, am I wrong?
Yeah.
But I just constantly kept saying, no, I can do it. And yeah, I listened to everyone's opinions, and yes, they helped me along the way, because them opinions changed my way of thinking. But at no point do I ever take the negative one and go, yeah, I can't do this. I just took it as I'll learn, and go again.
Who was the first person that you let in, and how did that happen?
It would have been my dad.
Okay.
My dad will always give me an opinion that's a little bit grouchy and a little bit to the point. Like, he'll give me the opinion I want to hear, and it's not always right. And we used to argue. Some good bottles of whiskey up there, so we used to argue over a bottle of whiskey, get through the ideas and work out where I am. My dad's quite opposite. So his dad was a very good businessman, my granddad, and who's tattooed on my back. But he also failed a few times along the way.
Okay.
So my dad was against failure. He was quite negative towards trying things, but it's also meant he gives a very stable upbringing.
Sure.
So it was a yin and yang of my dad and my granddad, and it's trying to find that place in the middle. I remember Anita's going crazy at me. We can't pay the bills at this point, but I knew it was working. And trying to sit Anita down and say, I know it looks bad, I know it looks like we're going that direction, but I promise you this has worked. I know it is. It's 2-3 months down the line, and it's going to roll and improve. I said, but you have to trust me right here. And
you don't have to talk about it if you're happy to
no,
talk
I'm happy to talk, but you might see a few of these over. To be honest, once I get through this bit, everything else is like...
The thing is, the feeling of like, oh shit, is not real, because real is when people watch this and they cry.
Yeah.
Because they're like, thank you, because I needed to hear this, because you're not bullshitting like everyone else. That was that was your reason for putting this together.
No, the Anita stuff is the strongest point. But it's going to take a minute to get to that. So.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Well, whenever you're ready, just do it, because he'll just turn it on. Where did you go? Where were you going?
I was playing golf.
Okay.
And I need a minute. But yeah, for me, that's probably the hardest point, when Anita's there, she can't pay the bills, and she's having to go and beg for money to come in. And at that point, I knew I had to change my ways of doing things. I had to change my focus. I was so focused on making pounds, and that's all I cared about. I had dreams before that all related to big houses, cars, holidays, but I had to change my focus based on what I needed to do for the family. So I reassessed and changed my goals at that point there.
And you've got this down here, I noticed, this Porsche 911 thing here. You were going to talk about it earlier. Does this tie into what you were just saying?
Yeah, so there's quite a weird story goes with this car. When I was about 12-13 years old, this was a dream. Got no idea why. It's from the Bad Boys film.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I watched Bad Boys and I decided I needed one of them.
Yeah.
When I grow up, I'm gonna have this car. My brother bought me this for Christmas because I purchased this car, my dream car, and he wrote it off.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so he crashed it into a bush, and yeah, but it made me realise on that one phone call how your dreams and reality come into it. So he phoned me, and his worry was the car.
Yeah.
What have I done to your car? I'm really sorry. Mine was him. Are you okay? I'm going to take the piss out of you for the lifetime to come, but you're okay, that's all that matters. And I owned it, and I felt no different for owning it. I didn't feel super cool. I felt like I'd achieved something, so I got in it. It was actually a really bad car to drive. It felt awful, it didn't feel good. But it was that whole, that's what I wanted as a kid, and that's what I worked towards. And it was like ticking off a dream, ticking off something that I wanted to do, wanted to have. Yes, it's materialistic, but the early me was very materialistic. Everything I wanted was around that. I do believe a lot of dreams start there, and you don't really find what you're looking for till you get down the line. That was me, 100%. Chased cars, chased houses, but now everything I chase has nothing to do with pound signs.
So the success came.
Yeah.
You worked hard, you built something. 3 years later, you've achieved the big goal. Talk to us about that.
It was kind of a weird feeling. I remember there, and my mum was super excited. Like, she was screaming, she was like going crazy about, oh yes, this is where you've got to. I'm so proud of you, this and this. My dad was the same, my brother was the same, Anita was the same. And I had nothing. Not an ounce of emotion to what I'd just achieved. The money in the bank, the selling the business, everything. It was like it was a stepping stone to my next thing. I just believed that was one step along many across the way.
How was that? Like, did you expect that?
No. If you'd asked me when I was a kid how I'd feel after selling the business or achieving what I want to achieve, I can imagine running around crazy, celebrating, and that didn't happen. It didn't come, and to this day, I didn't have that feeling of, yes, look at what I've done, look at what I've achieved, and I'm hoping one day it comes in. But I believe that's again one of the reasons I adapted and changed forward to try and find something that gives me fulfillment and gives me that feeling, and getting the money in the bank didn't give me that feeling.
Okay, so feeling a little bit sort of numb to the success, was that the worst that it got at that point, or did it get worse?
It got worse from there on in. I went from being 12 stone 10 to about 16 stone 3, the heaviest I've ever been in my life. I went from being a fitness freak to being really lazy, and not caring much about my own sort of how I look, which is something that I always made sure I was in shape and in the early years. That laziness then kicked into my work life. I'd be getting up later in the day. I'd watch crap TV, I'd watch all this sort of stuff. I wasn't doing anything that was productive in my day. I stopped learning, which is one of the key things in my life I should never stop doing. For months I stopped learning things, I stopped trying to improve myself, and that's a key moment to sort of changing things.
What was the worst it got? Do you remember a single moment?
I remember sort of looking at myself and thinking I could see the shape going, I could feel the motivation going, but I can't put a single point on it. I think it's one that relates to one of my first video I'd done on the cake story, and I think it kind of kicks into there. From that point onwards, I started to change.
And what was the cake story?
So the cake story was Aidan was there in front of me, and I was telling him how he needs to work harder, how he needs to be fitter, how he needs to be stronger. And he looked at me. I was there with my top off, eating a cake, and he said, "But Gary, you're fat." And I remember just sat there, like, I had the cake in my hand, it was towards my mouth at the time, and I was just thinking, he's right. Like, what example am I setting for the kids? I want all my kids to be successful in whatever life they choose. But what example am I setting for them right now? What am I doing to show them the way to go forward? I might have achieved some of my goals along the way, but right now they see me as a lazy slob who's doing nothing. So from that point onwards, I changed everything. Pretty much the next day.
Okay, what happened?
I started dieting. I started eating healthy. Got rid of all the bad parts out. Started to get up earlier. Started to learn again. Started to work out, what can I do now? What's next? where am I going to go from here?
What was the big lessons that you learned? Because you've also mentioned this time in your life where you were trying to be someone that you weren't. Was that happening at the similar kind of time?
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
I felt like at times I was trying to impress people, and it's something I've never worried about before. I am who I am, and you either like me or you don't. It's always been my attitude towards everything. Whereas I got to this point and I felt like I wanted to be accepted by the big corporate companies, by everyone around me. And at that point as well, I stopped that. I started to surround myself with positive people again. And anyone who was negative towards how I am, what I want to be, I pushed away. Probably right or wrong along the way. Some people disagree with how I dealt with it, but I started to surround myself with real positive thinking people and picking up that mentality again of I want to learn, I want to succeed. The problem is this time I didn't yet have a goal. So for the first time in my life I'm going at something without a goal.
And how does that feel?
It feels strange, but it's kind of allowed me to learn and try and do things without the same risk I had before. I made a promise to my wife after selling the company that I would never put us in the same predicament where we can't pay the bills again, where bankruptcy is even an option. So I've given ourselves that safe side, and now I can play with stuff on this side to try new business ventures, to try and push for success again. I'll push again now for very different reasons. I want to show people that there's no limit to how far you can push, how far you can go to try new things.
A lot of what you do and the reason why you do it is, for example, is leading by example for your kids. And whether you realise it or not, getting to know you over the last few months, it's leading by example full stop, which is one of the reasons why this video is going to exist, because you wanted to make it very clear that you don't have to have a super clean record. You can fail a couple of times along the way. It's about your attitude, about your resilience, it's about who you surround yourself with, and all the things that perhaps some of the other videos that you can watch out there aren't saying, because they don't know it as well as you do, because of the depth of knowledge and experience that you have. And this is another prime example of leading by example, in my opinion. What advice would you give someone who's out there watching this now that maybe doesn't know anything about you, but has found themselves watching this video or listening to this interview and just gone, well, this guy obviously knows a thing or two about business. What is the main bit of advice that you can give that would be your big golden nugget for someone for when they reach that level of success that they're looking for?
Find a balance. It's the key to everything I've learned. You chase dreams, you chase money, you chase cars, or some people just go for the family life, but find the balance that works for you. Everyone's completely different. Whether you're a dog walker, accountant, whether you're in a multi-million pound business, if you're genuinely happy in what you do and you're fulfilled by what you do, you're already successful.
And for someone who gets it but can't figure it out, how would you nudge that along one step further for them?
Keep trying. Ask for advice, take advice on. You're going to get negativity, you're going to get it along the way. Learn to deal with that in a way, put it to one side, take the positive stuff on, but for every bit, just learn and learn. There's no time to start. You can, all year round, you can sit and learn new ways. If it's dog walking, find the trends, find whatever it is. If it's accounting, what's changing, how do I work, what's the new legislation, how can I work with it. Whatever business you want to do, learn it inside out. Whatever happens, even if it doesn't work in that, you've got more knowledge to go forward into the next business.
Sure. Gary, last thing, when it's all been and gone and you've had your time, what's the main thing that you want to have achieved and be remembered for?
It's mainly to leave a legacy for the family going forward. I want the Gillies family in the future to be able to try things with business and be able to do things without the same risks I took down the line. I'm hoping that I can show all the kids the basics of business, the fundamentals, even help them out with their first business along the way. But I just hope that I can give them the opportunity to try things down the line. Yeah, so many people out there are waiting for you to fail. They want you to fail. And most of the time it's to give them the reason not to push themselves. I won't try it because so-and-so failed and it shows it doesn't work. With them sort of people, you need to get the negativity away and start believing yourself and sort of push forward.
for somebody watching this who might be just there, just thinking, this is totally me. I'm feeling this right now. People are starting to doubt me, and they're thinking about folding, turning in their cards and quitting, but know that they're capable of doing it. What's your main piece of advice?
Truly believe in yourself. You've got to find it inside you. It's going to feel like it's the bottom. It's going to feel like there's nowhere to go. But if you believe in yourself, keep pushing, keep trying to get through it. There's opportunities are going to keep coming. But as soon as you close that door, you're in a whole different world.
What can people do to find you and to get more from you?
I love helping small businesses through setup, through coming through problems, working out ways to expand. And I get a buzz of working with people who have got that entrepreneurial spirit and trying to dig deep. They're trying to find that gap. And by finding little things that I've learned through the years and passing the knowledge on, saves them 2-3 months, which in turn could help their business stay open or take them to the next level. The passion I see in other people spurs me on. It keeps me going, and again, every time I work with a new business, I'm learning about a business I didn't know about before, how it works, how it runs, and can adapt that into my own businesses or the next person that comes along. It's something that I'd be happy to help others with and work with them on the way.
Okay, cool. So the best way for them to get hold of you would be?
If they connect me on LinkedIn, find me a message. I'm quite happy to chat with them, meet up, have a drink.
Awesome.
And go through things.
Very cool. There's an invitation right there. Gary, thanks mate. Appreciate it. Cheers.